Dame and Steph went at it, came down to the wire. But why can we now still not put Damian Lillard as the best point guard in the game? I got a clear-cut reasons here. Stay tuned. Damian Lillard and Steph Curry recently went at it last night, and one of the key things that you saw was, of course, Damian Lillard is our version of Mr. Clutch, Mr. Jerry West. Damian Lillard is our Jerry West of this era, really. He's hitting multiple clutch shots, and he also made a clutch defensive play by taking a charge with Draymond Green. But there's an issue here. It's like whenever we're ready to crown Damian Lillard, hey, the best point guard in the league, best point guard in the game, it seems like we're always hesitant to do so. And why isn't he the best point guard in the game? It's not necessarily because like Steph is here or CP3 is here. There are a few things that are really holding him back from us giving him the title as the best point guard in the game. Heck, even in the game, you saw where, for the most part, besides the clutch shot and the defensive play, Steph outplayed him. He had 35 points. So these are like the little small nuanced things that I believe will take Dame to the next level for us to just basically flat out say he's the best point guard in the NBA, hands down, like 630. Number one, Damian Lillard cannot go through any more playoff sweeps. And the Pelicans won a few years back when he played versus Rondo and AD. That really hurt him. But to me, what hurt him was a couple seasons ago was when he sent Paul George home. Bye bye. And they beat the Denver Nuggets in 7. I believed in them in that series. Then they were facing the Warriors without KD. And most people picked Portland to get out of that series. I mean, you know, it was kind of like 50-50, but it was like 57-43 or 55-45, 52, 48. People were leaning towards Portland. No KD, the way that Portland took care of business, they got it in the bag. Each game in that series, they had a double-digit lead, and they got swept. I think that really killed Dame's reputation for being the best point guard in the game. Like, you're the best point guard in the game. You got double-digit leads. It's easy to take care of games. And in that point, you just dictate pace, and I guess you hold on to the lead. But in that case, like, just no more sweeps. He cannot have any more sweeps. Like, you got to get a game, even if it's injury or no injury. In that series, the Warriors were injured. You had your guys. I believe Nurkic did play that series. So, or no, did he get hurt halfway through the series or something? But can't get swept. No more sweeps in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's like a catastrophic injury, I understand that. Like, multiple guys went down, but you got to get a game. Get a game. Damian Lillard has to have a year where the Portland Trailblazers are number one in the West. And this is like one of the most difficult feats because it's a team-based situation, and sometimes your team isn't that great. CJ McCollum is out, so I wouldn't expect them to be number one in the West now. Next year it's gonna be more difficult when Klay comes back. But maybe LeBron and the Lakers take a step back. So of course it's difficult. But what I'm saying is, to garner that reputation as the number one point guard, number one point guards usually have their team, 1 and 2 in seeding. And, the Warriors have been up there before. Of course, they're a stacked team. But even before they were a stacked team, 2016 they were up there. That year when they went 73-9. So you got to have your team up there because that only bolsters your reputation as the top dog, best point guard in the league, because you're keeping your team up there in standings, high standings, not middle of the road, 3 or 4, high standings, home court advantage throughout the playoffs. That's what he needs to essentially get. Damian Lillard needs to play in a system with automatics. This is one thing that I feel like is holding Dame back. Dame is forced to use his virtuoso ball handling his virtuoso shooting, his amazing creating ability, but he's not put in a system where it's like a lot of automatics where he doesn't have to think. Like a lot of things that Dame does, it has become second nature and habit or whatever, but he has to still think about those things. Like, damn, if they doubling me, I gotta reject the screen and I gotta do this. Like, it's just like, it's so many things that he has to think about and his teammates have to think about, which kind of hinders him. And I'm gonna talk about this a little later down the line. You'll see what I mean. It's just like when you compare him to, like, I'll give you a simple example, like Steph Curry. Guys know to automatically screen for Steph Curry when he's without the ball. Dame, look, when he's dribbling the ball, he has to call guys like, come set the screen. It's just not automatic. He needs to play in a system where it's more automatic. A lot of people get this twisted. They feel like playing in a system is limiting. It's not that great for you. Tim Duncan played in the system. 5 rings. 5 rings. Kobe Bryant played in the system. 5 rings. Shaq played in the system. Magic played in the system. MJ played in the system. Playing in the system does not hinder you. Matter of fact, it releases you because now certain things that you were doing on instinct or thinking about, like, or other guys were thinking about, now it takes it out of it, and now you can just focus on the game and do what you do. Especially when you get in your spots, and then it's like it's takeover time. You don't have to think. Nobody has to think about anything. CJ wouldn't have to think. Nurkic wouldn't have. Nobody has to think about anything. So he needs to be in a system or a better system that has more automatics, that focuses more on habitual habits, that it makes it easier for Dame. Dame has to. So you guys ever heard of the theory? To be a champ, you got to beat the champ. And like right now, Steph Curry is like basically riding the wave of being the best point guard, or we'll say like Chris Paul's another guy. He has to beat like a Chris Paul or a Damian Lillard. Chris Paul or Steph Curry, preferably Steph Curry in a series like 4-1 or sweep them. He has to leave no doubt in anybody's mind that he's the best point guard because he's outshined the best point guard consistently. Like this season, he had a game where he went off for like 40 against the Warriors. Then the next game, Steph Curry dropped 65 on his head. And they swept the Portland Trailblazers multiple times. Steph has showed time and time again, in the playoffs especially, that he's just a little step ahead of Dame for right now. But Dame has to really go at the top-notch point guard in a series and obliterate them and leave no doubt in everybody's mind. And that I think that's fair, because I think you're measuring them up against guys, and they have to prove themselves. So that is prudent within himself for him to take that next level, just to be by himself. It's crazy. Like, you don't know how that feels, or to say like right now there's only a couple players that they by themselves or have been by themselves. Like LeBron has been by himself, KD by himself, Steph by himself. It's rare air to say like, yo, you're by yourself. Like, I don't gotta worry about anybody. I'm like really playing myself. And I think when Dame gets in a series and he beats a Steph or a Chris Paul, like just demolishes them, then it's like, okay, yeah, like he's by himself as the best point guard in the league. And lastly, the one thing that I think that is really holding Dame back, and from us really saying that he's the number 1 point guard in the league, is this: he hasn't figured out the double team. You saw this against the Warriors last night. He had like 22 points, right? You could say like he was forcing it, but a lot of times teams are really able to take Dame out of the game by just doubling him. And you saw that in the 7-game series, I believe it was 2 seasons ago against the Denver Nuggets. If you double Dame, he hasn't figured, or maybe I could say his coach, and this goes back to my point about him having automatics in the offense. His coach hasn't really figured out, hey, like Dame is getting doubled. How do I get Dame off? Or Dame hasn't figured out, like, I'm getting doubled. Instead of me bringing the ball up and initiating the offense, let CJ bring it, Carmelo bring it, let other guys initiate the offense. This way, it's easier for me to really start from inside the paint and get a screen, come back out, then get the ball. You can't double me while I'm on the move, right? And you're not gonna double me off ball because that's always gonna leave somebody open. He hasn't figured out the double team yet, and I think that's that's one thing that he has to really figure out and play out of, because you have to figure that out, especially when you're a great player. When you're a great player, you're going to get doubled. You're going to get doubled. So either you're going to have a night where you have 20 assists, or you're going to have a night where even though they double team you, it doesn't matter, like a Kobe. So he just has to figure out where does he feel comfortable getting the ball in the double team. Because to me, at the top of the key is not it. It's really not it. And if he's anywhere else on the court, you can't double him because you're leaving, it's too much ground to cover. But when you're at the top of the key, it's a lot more easier for a guy to hit the short roll and hit back or intercept his pass. He had a couple of turnovers last night because Draymond Green was intercepting that little short roll pass he was trying to hit because of the double team at the top of the key. Top of the key is it's good if you're isolated, but if they're doubling you, you got to get rid of that ball fast, or there has to be some kind of automatic. They're doubling me a lot, or I'm not handling the ball right now. I'm gonna go in the paint and curl back out to the top of the key. Oh, all right, now I'm going downhill. So to me, I think that's the next step in his elevation, and that is really gonna make him the best point guard in the NBA, bar none. If he can figure out that double team, that makes him more dangerous. That allows them to win more games, which improves their record. That creates more automatics because you can't handle the double team. Now I'm automatically doing my thing or whatever. I don't have to think about this. It's not something I got to think where do I have to pass or who's open. Nothing to think about. That really solves a lot of things right then and there. Because he's already clutch. He just needs to unleash more of it, especially in the playoffs. I think a lot of people look at Dame in the regular season and they know he's nice, and then the playoffs kind of come, and then when it's the higher leverage moments, it's damn, where is this? Where is it? And a lot of it is the double team. Hoops Junction, Hoops meets Hoopla. Like, comment, subscribe.